Now on Denver 7 News at 7 a.m. on Local 3, life could get even more expensive. The Federal Reserve is on the verge of another interest rate increase, where Coloradans, meanwhile, are moving in search of lower costs and maybe a better quality of life.
Also developing from overnight, another fire starts near Yosemite National Park, prompting thousands to evacuate. We'll show you where containment stands.
And are you ready for some football? Yeah, what you need to know about seeing Russell Wilson and the new Broncos in action this week for the first time at training camp.
All eyes will be on Russell Wilson, but there are about 60 other players to watch. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady, and hopefully we'll have some good weather. I think the mornings have been pretty nice, but we do get that afternoon rain this week again, Katie.
We absolutely do. Good morning to you both, and happy Monday, Colorado. We did see a lot of rain move through the state on Sunday. This morning, clearing skies here over northern Colorado with just some lingering showers down across the southeastern plains, and that heavy rain and those line of storms currently over Kansas and Nebraska. Temperatures right now, we're in the low 60s over the metro area. Relative humidity is dropping and winds are relatively calm, sustained from the west-northwest. Temperatures elsewhere into the high country, it's 40s and 50s early on. We'll see a warmer day here across the state and pretty seasonal for this time in late July, with high temperatures nearing 90 degrees once again into Congress Park, into Inglewood and Lone Tree, high 80s expected. Very seasonal as mentioned for this time of the year. The record, that's 99 set back in 1931. We do have the possibility of seeing an isolated storm or shower mainly south of I-70 for today, and then clearing skies, Micah, later on tonight with more sunshine to start Tuesday.
Ooh, I just love the 80s. That's my favorite. We have two problem spots on the traffic map I've been keeping an eye on. The first one seems to be like it's clearing up here, and this is on I-225 near 6th Avenue as you approach I-Lift. Let's go ahead and take a look at the CDOT camera that's close to the area. See, not much to speak of, a little bit heavy northbound where this incident was taking place, but it started to clear up at this hour, so that's a little bit of good news. Let's take a look at your drive times there in the area. There we go. And we are going about northbound I-225 from I-25 to I-70. We're going about 14 minutes. Southbound a little bit slower at 16 minutes. And then we do have another incident in Adams County. This one's on I-76 in between 74th and I-270, impacting westbound lanes. Traffic is backed all the way up to 88th Avenue. So that's really the biggest problem spot to speak of right now.
Thank you, Micah. Well, new this morning, Colorado's pricey housing market is now driving people away.
Yeah, and we could see another new interest rate increase this week, making everything, including housing, more expensive. So this morning, we're taking a 360 in-depth look at where the housing market stands. First, what you need to know about this Federal Reserve meeting this week. It starts tomorrow, and it's expected to end on Wednesday with another rate hike, most likely a 0.75% increase. That would be the same amount as last month's rate hike, which was the largest since 1994. The Fed hopes this move will help slow record inflation, which is at 9.1%. That's more than 3 times as high as the Fed wants to see it. Over the weekend, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen downplayed America's risk of a recession. She says the U.S. economy is slowing, but our healthy hiring rate is proof we're not in a recession yet.
Consumer spending remains solid. It's continuing to grow. Industrial output has grown in 5 of the 6 most recent months. Credit quality remains very strong. Household balance sheets are generally in good shape, but inflation is way too high.
The number of people applying for mortgages has dropped to the lowest point since 2000. The higher interest rates are partly to blame. The average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage is now 5.8%. Also, nationally, home sales fell for a 5th month in a row. So the average monthly mortgage payment in the Denver metro area is $2,900. That does not include taxes or insurance on top of that. So it isn't a surprise that people are leaving Denver for more affordable places. Redfin ranks Denver 8th on the list of cities where home buyers are moving out. And here's apparently where they want to go. Miami tops the list. In fact, Florida, California, and Texas each have multiple cities on this list. San Diego, which is largely more expensive than the Denver metro, is also on the list. Experts simply believe more Americans are craving warmer weather.
Yeah, I mean, the weather, of course, a big factor, especially if you don't have any home at all. A lot of Colorado cities are trying to remedy that. Boulder County is offering landlords a bonus of $2,500 for offering space to homeless people. Fort Collins is asking people to take a survey on housing this week. It will ask about creating a rental license program and also expanding occupancy limits in homes. And Denver is considering a plan to give people living in shelters $1,000 per month to help them find stable housing. One of the major reasons home prices are so high is that there just aren't enough houses. But if you've driven through Aurora, you've probably seen a lot of construction lately. Denver 7's Christian Lopez is live there this morning. And Christian, we're talking about thousands of new units coming.
Yeah, and there are several residential and commercial projects in the works. Right now, we're standing just a few blocks away from E470. We can see all of that construction around in this area. Last year, the city of Aurora issued $1.9 billion in new construction permits. And at last check, just a couple months ago in May, $624 million have already been spent on these projects. City officials say this is a great place to live and work, so they're excited for these new developments.
Throughout the pandemic, we have seen very strong development activity across the city. And so that is both in new areas of the city where we haven't had development before. So a lot of that's out in the area south of the airport, between I-70 and the airport. We have a couple of large master plan communities going on out there. That includes Painted Prairie, which is the 1 square mile just south of the Gaylord out there.
And he just mentioned one of the projects, Painted Prairie. Here are the details from the city. It is a planned community that will have 4,200 units. So far, 10% of those have been built. There's also Aurora Highlands. 360 units are under construction right now, with more than 12,000 units planned. And there's High Point, 2,700 units planned for that one, and so far 700 are built. And that is just 3 of 14 planned development projects that are a mixture of retail, residential, and commercial projects. Live this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Thank you, Christian. We do have some breaking news from overnight. Englewood police shot and killed a 22-year-old man. Officers say he shot at them first. As we take a look at the scene on South Grove Street off West Bellwood Drive, this was from Air Tracker 7 earlier this morning. Police were responding to a disturbance call at a home there. No officers were hurt in the exchange. The officers involved are on administrative leave during the investigation. We are also working to learn more after Boulder County officials found a body on a trail yesterday morning. It was near the Realization Point trailhead on Flagstaff Mountain. Police have not yet confirmed the cause of death or identified the victim.
Well, it is a devastating scene in Yosemite National Park. Trees on fire, helicopters dumping water from above, doing everything they can to stop this fire, which has been fueled by the high temperatures in California. The Northeast also broke heat records this weekend. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
This morning, as extreme heat grips the east,
just trying to stay in the shade.
Wildfires sending residents fleeing in the west. Emergency crews in Yosemite National Park working day and night from the ground and in the air, trying to contain the more than 15,000-acre oak fire. Dead trees and scorching temps fueling the flames in the drought-ravaged state.
It really is a challenge because of the amount of heat that's in those fuels. It makes it challenging for our firefighters to fight these fires.
Thousands in Mariposa County have already evacuated, uncertain if their homes will be standing there when they return. Our Alex Brochet is there.
This is the new reality for so many residents that live here. Charred remains of a once normal life. Patio furniture, cups, toys, all destroyed.
Meanwhile, back on the East Coast, a sweltering heat wave. Scorching temperatures are expected to last all week in the New York tri-state area. Meteorologists say it could be the longest heat wave in nearly a decade.
Too hot. Too hot. Extremely too hot.
In Boston Sunday, temperatures hitting a record 100 degrees, surpassing a daily record set back in 1933. Officials in New York City cut the distance of its annual triathlon in half as a safety precaution. The city opening more than 500 cooling centers to help residents without air conditioning. And in Philadelphia, misting stations were set up outside the Phillies ballpark to help cool the masses. There are more deaths from heat every year in the U.S. than any other weather disaster, and now 90 million Americans from Texas to Maine are sweltering in dangerously hot weather, experts blaming the record-breaking heat on climate change. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, fires are sparking worldwide because of hot temperatures. Take a look at this. These are homes from the United Kingdom, and they were destroyed in a fire that started during record-breaking heat last week. It was the busiest day for London firefighters since World War II, and climate experts warn the likelihood of summer temperatures exceeding 100 degrees in the UK continues to go up.
Back here at home, the heat dropped off this weekend. As you saw, the rainy weather put a damper, though, on some people's travel plans. Denver International Airport had a ground stop for a couple of hours last night. There were more than 800 delayed flights Sunday. We just checked. There are 77 delays and 34 flights canceled right now. Travelers we spoke to yesterday told us they've gotten used to expecting delays at the airport this summer.
We thought it was going to be like 2 hours, and then all of a sudden they were like, get on the plane now, go, go, go. The pilot didn't want us to miss our chance to be cleared to go. So.
We waited for like 9 hours.
It wasn't quite that long. It was about 3.
It's an act of God, so you cannot, go against it, and we're waiting.
And not 9 hours, you heard. That's just what the little guy thought. It was only 3. The ground stop was canceled around 9:15.
Summer is prime time for home improvements, but now there are salespeople trying to take advantage of you. Why the Better Business Bureau is warning not to be fooled.
And we've all heard unplugging from social media is good for you, but how do you do it? Some tips from the younger generation who have figured out how to spend some time offline.